Thank you, Hassan. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the Public Safety Committee this evening on the importance of the Domain Awareness Center project to the Port of Oakland, and to provide some context for the center from the Port's perspective. The center will provide first responders, city and Port real-time information and a common operating picture to respond to emergencies and day-to-day operations. Why is that important? Well, the Port, along with its partners, generates more than 73,000 jobs in this region and supports nearly 827,000 jobs across the nation. More than $40 billion worth of goods are shipped through the Port of Oakland each year, and close to 2,000 ships tie up at Oakland Marine Terminals annually. The Port of Oakland is the 5th busiest cargo port in the nation and the 3rd busiest on the west coast of the United States. The port has the infrastructure that is vital to the local and regional economy, and is what we use to accommodate all those economic opportunities in the port and the area. The loss of even one day of port maritime operations would amount to millions of dollars in lost economic impact. As a public agency, it is our duty and our responsibility to take responsible steps, reasonable steps, to implement programs to protect the port, our workers, and our visitors. We also share infrastructure and transportation systems with the city, including BART, Caltrans, Amtrak, and 2 Class 1 railroad systems in Burlington Northern Santa Fe and Union Pacific. For all these reasons, we see the Joint Center as a vital security investment. There are 2 major reasons for the basis of a partnership with the city for jointly utilizing grant funds for the center. The Port of Oakland has the maritime-related infrastructure to protect. And the city is the first responder for the port in the event of an incident. The port does not have firemen, we don't have policemen. We rely on the city to provide those services. Let's talk about what maritime domain awareness means. It is the effective understanding of anything associated with the maritime area that could impact security, safety, the economy, and the environment. We need the capability to observe and verify what is normal in the maritime area, so that when something out of the ordinary occurs, it is easily recognized as out of the norm. Then we can readily assess whether that situation is a threat and respond appropriately with our limited resources that we have in the city. Domain awareness and communications interoperability are 2 key criteria to the Port Security Grant Program, and those 2 are the basis for the center being funded. The port has a camera system along the fence lines and at major port intersections. The technology enables us to detect whether a restricted boundary of the port infrastructure has been breached. Another piece of relatively new technology being implemented in the center is the Physical Security Information Management System, or PSIM. The PSIM allows for central monitoring by a very small number of staff. The staff can then verify whether a situation is a true emergency. In some cases, verifying that the situation is not an emergency will save costs, because personnel and resources will not have to be unnecessarily dispatched. Examples of potential incidents in the port area are a fire or a security breach. Managing event information and communications informs the operation so that it can be handled more effectively, especially for complex, multi-unit, multi-jurisdictional events. This is critical for life safety and protecting our community, the environment, and our facilities. So the center will help answer the questions: what is the situation that first responders are faced with when they arrive at an incident site? What situation exactly are we trying to respond to with police and fire resources? And what information do we have to report to the public for their safety? The integrated information system at the center will make it easier to answer these vital questions in a critical time frame for the first responders and the decision makers. So let's use this slide for a couple minutes to talk about what the Domain Awareness Center is and what the Domain Awareness Center is not. The slide shows that the center is for phase 1, and those items have already been accomplished. Port security cameras, intrusion detection system, that's the system I was talking about earlier that surrounds the port perimeter on our fence lines and tracks for intrusions coming into across the restricted areas. Also, city traffic cameras and city GIS is part of phase 1 that's already been accomplished. And then phase 2 is on the right-hand side, and that's what's before you for consideration of some of the systems that we're talking about integrating during phase 2 with the Schneider contract.
So just to be clear, on this slide, so phase 1 is completed, and the cameras that you're making reference to, 137 approximately, are on port property,
Those are the 4 cameras.
and the 40 other cameras are on city traffic cameras.
Primarily intersections.
And they're primarily located downtown areas, or?
There's a slide after my part.
Okay,
That'll show that.
continue, okay.
Right.
All right.
So the center is focused on current operations and situation analysis and support for that operation using the available data feeds in the PSIM. These systems already exist. However, we need to be able to centralize and analyze all this physical security information to support our responders in the field with crucial information during an incident. As we know from the aftermath of disasters like Hurricane Katrina, coordinating information and response efforts are key to life safety. There has been some misinformation regarding security cameras relative to the center. To clarify, the cameras and the information system being used do not have facial recognition technology. None of our cameras have facial recognition. We do not intend to have facial recognition on any of our cameras.
You can add it at any time.
There are no school camera systems either in phase 1 or phase 2. This is not a fusion center. We have no agreements with the NSA or the CIA or the FBI to be able to access our databases or the information in that center. The sponsor for this port security grant program is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, not an intelligence agency. Here are some examples of events that have occurred either here or at other ports in the country in which interagency communications and an established common operating picture between first responders was absolutely vital, including critical infrastructure security breaches, shipboard fires, hazardous material spills, and natural disasters like earthquakes. In the event of a fire in the port area, information can be passed to police and fire dispatch. They can share that information to field units and watch commanders who can make quick and timely decisions about how best to combat that blaze. The watch can assist dispatch with the use of electronic maps to provide options on where to stage resources, and in a very large event can coordinate that information with other agencies that are sending resources to the scene. The center will facilitate getting information from multiple sources about the situation to those who need it to make quick and informed operational decisions. Fast, comprehensive, and reliable analysis of available information supports mitigating an event to protect the public and get the port back up and running more quickly. The center staff needs to be proficient in day-to-day operations, flow of information and decision-making before they can hope to efficiently respond to a large-scale emergency. They have to know how to use the piece of how to communicate, how to relate that information to the agencies and the field units that need it. They're not going to be expected to come in during a large operation to be able to use the piece of, so it really has to be used on a day-to-day basis to have any effect, any positive effect at a large-scale event where an EOC is activated. While major incidents such as an earthquake or fire are not frequent in their occurrence, the consequences to the public and the local economy would be devastating. Consider this. Each day that the Port of Oakland is not operational due to a major incident, we could see a multi-million-dollar loss in wages, salaries, business, and tax revenues. This Domain Awareness Center would significantly help to mitigate those incidents by providing increased coordination and communication with other agencies. This will be critical in the event of a full-scale emergency response in Oakland. Therefore, having all the relevant information flow through the center is essential. It will save lives, it will help protect our people, our community, and the infrastructure in a major emergency. Thank you.
Thank you.